Short political rant. What is the connection between Millie Dowler and Harold Shipman? Well, and I don't want to cause any offence here, well, both of them are dead. Both of them were connected with murder. Millie Dowler, an innocent and beautiful and well-loved young lady, was cruelly murdered. Harold Shipman, who looked a bit like me, and like me was a family doctor, although I'm a retired family doctor now, he killed a whole load of people, so he was a murderer. The connection is that both of them have, the names of both people have been invoked in producing legislation so that this will never happen again, as they so often say, which may well end up doing more harm than good. The connection with this today is the all-party agreement passed by 500 votes in the House of Commons to bring in a new set of regulations, and forgive me if I'm light on the detail, I haven't had the chance to read them all yet, and they're very complicated and they've just been produced, which will essentially limit the freedom of expression of the press. Now, Millie Dowler, for those of you who don't know, after she went missing, we now know she was murdered very quickly after she went missing, poor girl, and her mobile phone was, some messages were apparently removed. There's a little bit of controversy about it, but some messages on her mobile phone were deleted. Now this gave her parents false hope that she might still be alive. However, as it emerged, and I don't think this has been proven beyond doubt, but it is widely believed that a journalist had hacked into her phone and had deleted some messages from it in order to create space to allow more messages that they could possibly use in a story. Now that was wrong, and everybody thinks it was wrong. There were similar misdeeds and wrongdoings which were chronicled before the Leveson inquiry. This is all about the behaviour of the press, and I wrote about this in my book Three Men in a Hut and Other Essays in the section One Day's News, commenting on some of the dreadful wicked practices that were being carried out by journalists to get a story. You know, that's the kind of thing that led to the death of Princess Diana, her boyfriend and their chauffeur. But look, there are already laws that can stop that sort of thing happening. This didn't need a new raft of legislation to stifle the press. Following Shipman, of course, we had a whole load of new regulations that were brought in to regulate family doctors, I get it, all doctors. Unnecessary, expensive. It's certainly, you know, the aggravation of it would to some extent contributed to my decision to retire earlier than I would have done, because I was just fed up with all the heavy, excessive regulation, which will not stop another murderer of Shipman's kind. But it wasn't necessary even to do that, because his modus operandi was blown, the use of drugs, it was blown, his falsification of the computer records was blown, and the fact that a family doctor might do such a thing was blown. So already there wasn't going to be another Shipman. I mean, for pity's sake, this has only happened once in human history, something like that. We didn't need a huge wad of extra regulation, but there are people who love to control other people. There are people who love to control doctors. Politicians in particular are envious of doctors because we're popular and they're not. We're trusted and they're not. So that's they like to regulate us, partly to make them feel better about themselves. Try being honest and useful, that might help. That's why we're popular. But having said that, the Shipman affair was used as an excuse to bring in a whole wad of additional regulations which have made things worse, not better. And the Millie Dowler affair and other affairs to do with the press going over the top, breaking existing laws. It's already illegal to phone tap. We didn't need a huge new wad of press regulation. Peter Hitchens has written a very nice article on his blog about this. And he says it's quite clear that the left is behind this. It's quite clear that the left hate the fact that some popular newspapers don't approve of their utopian dreams, which I think the rest of us ought to long for. And they don't like it. Also, a lot of what this is about, a lot of what's behind this is the MP's expenses scandal. It was, guess what, a free press that blew the fact that a very large number of MPs were ripping off the taxpayer to a very large sum of money. Quite a few of them were forced to resign. A couple of them actually went to prison, and MPs went from being pretty unpopular to extremely unpopular for a time. And normally journalists, lawyers and politicians are somewhere towards the bottom end of the pit in terms of public disapproval. Doctors, of course, were always at the top. But the politicians liked to hit at the journalists, and that's what this is about. Just as they misused the Harold Shipman affair to put additional regulation on doctors, which has cost a lot of money and done more harm than good. And a lot of people I talk to are thinking about retiring a couple of years earlier than they would have done, because they're just fed up of being asked to jump through so many administrative hoops, to prove that they're not murdering their patients. The insult of it and stuff like that. And the Millie Dowler affair, as sympathetic as we can be towards her relatives, and much as we can loathe, obviously, the wicked person who murdered her, and the intrusive press that made the parents' grieving more difficult. Go for those individuals, don't go for the whole free press. Anyway, it's just another little rant. Peter Hitchens, as I said, has written about this, and there's no doubt there's as he said, the judicial activists, left-wing activist judges will use this commission, and they will progressively make it more difficult to report on the misdeeds and the crimes and the rip-offs that are being done by various people in the public eye, especially the politicians who are behind this.